Hey guys, so I have never done this before, but I got an idea today and I'm just gonna go with it. I've grouped the signs. I'm gonna do fire, earth. I wrote Cancer instead of water. Obviously you can see what's on my mind. Water and then air. I am a Libra, so you can see I'm not playing favorites. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna sit here for a minute, meditate. I'll probably cut all this out because I can do that. And then I'm gonna choose my deck. I've got my salt lamp. You can't really see it, but my salt lamp is going. So yeah, I'm just gonna get a feel for how this will work. I got some inspiration today when I was watching a video that really spoke to me, and I've been dabbling with having a channel on and off for a while, and I think maybe I've found more clarity in my message. So here goes. So if this doesn't feel obvious to you, the reason that you're here is because you've decided that you're ready to feel better. And that's a real turning point, to realize that you're ready to choose joy over everything else that may be going on in your life, or you've maybe experienced. It doesn't really matter what's happening. You just have that realization of, like, there's nothing that I love more than my own happiness. This video is going to be for Aries. So basically the reading will be to tell you how to get closer to the path of least resistance, your path of least resistance for Aries. The way that I read is intuitive, and I kind of tell a story, so I typically draw 10 cards and then I'll clarify anything that's kind of ambiguous. And I do not pull cards. I just let them come out when they're ready. As Aries is a fire sign, I am surprised a little. Well, not surprised. I mean, this isn't the deck. Like, if I was just picking a deck arbitrarily, this wouldn't be the one that I would have chosen, because it is a darker deck. Typically, when I read this, it is shadow side. So that would mean that the work here for you, your path of least resistance, Aries, is in shadow work or internal work, mental changes, not necessarily a physical change like, you know, move 2 states away and, oh wow, that's a lot. Move 2 states away and change your name. It's not that kind of stuff. It's more of it's more of like, hey, these are, oh my gosh, weird. Not taking all of those, but freaking not moving 2 states away, but doing the work here. So the deck that I got is Phantasmagoria. It's very vampiric, and I went ahead and I usually get 10 cards. That is a story, and then I will run through them and I will show them to you, and I will talk a little bit about the cards. So the first one that you got is, here we go, the Sun. And this one it's interesting because it looks like the Lovers, but the Sun can also speak to like who you are as a person, like how everyone sees you. And as you can see, it's kind of Beauty and the Beast. So I look at this as uniting. I mean, you can even see the skull, the flaming skull on top, uniting your shadow side and the you that everyone sees, the perfect version of yourself, clearing the cognitive dissonance. And you can see that there's a bed of roses in the background. It's kind of embracing the fullness of yourself and getting to love the real you in all of your aspects. The next one is the Ace of Skulls in reverse, which is the beginning of an emotional journey. Then you got the Lord of Scepters. This one is kind of, it is the fire energy in fire. And it's very active, momentous. It's like charging ahead. There's a storm happening in the background. He's not even worried about that. He's like full steam ahead, regardless of the background noise and everything else that's happening. It is pursuing something passionately, aggressively. You also have the Lord of Grails. So Scepters is wands. Grail is cups, like the Holy Grail. And it's a rider carrying Medusa's head. This one is the fire energy in water. Which is again a dogged pursuit of something. In this case, it's relating to emotions. So there's both passion and emotion here, and it can kind of look like, it's funny because when they're laying down and I'm looking at them, they are pulling away from each other, but when I hold them up to the camera, this is how I pulled them up. So that tells me that it's about perspective here. You can either see that your passion and your heart are pulling away from each other, or you can find a way to merge their purposes, and that's all up to you. I got Temperance in reverse, so that looks like this normally. I don't know if you can do that. And this is in reverse, and that's how I pulled it. So in reverse, it's interesting because it looks like the cauldron has almost a solar flare that is filling the cup. And I don't know why, but this feels like pulling from source without any moderation. Like, you don't have to be temperate when it comes to pulling from source. You just take what you need. There's plenty for everyone. Just take what you need for your journey. The Eight of Scepters here. So this is, again, very fiery energy. And you may also want to look up the numerology behind the number 8. I believe that symbol on his belt is Mercury, but I'm not super good with the symbols as yet. I've actually just started studying those more. There's a lot of interesting stuff about this card. His hair is kind of flying out behind him, but there's also kind of tendrily, shadowy element behind him, and it's not clear what that is. There's definitely some ambiguity in this card for me, so this is one that I will clarify. But there's also down here at the bottom, there's a cat mask, like a face mask, and then it's of a cat, and then there's an arrow pointing at that. And which is interesting because cats are hunters, but then there's like almost like there's someone like pursuing the cat, like trying to shoot at it. I'm gonna clarify that one because to me that one's a bit ambiguous. Then there's the Three of Wands, and you can see there her ship is coming in behind her, but she's not really paying attention to that. Again, this is in fire energy. There's a rose in her hand, which is a symbol of love, but she's, again, not looking towards that. It's like she has something on her mind, but she's looking away from all of the good things that are happening to her or that are available to her. And that's kind of interesting because there's a storm over her, but if you look off into the horizon, there's light and there's positivity and there's hope. I don't usually read reversals, but I got a lot of reversals in here. Which is this one here, the Six of Skulls. That's what it looks like upright. That is the Six of Skulls in reverse. So she has a veil over her face and she's kind of peeking out from behind it. And there's a Taurus symbol on here, which is Earth. Skulls in here are pentacles. So this is an Earth card. It's also the way that her shroud is hung. There's either the sun or moon, and it's hard to tell because of the lighting that is in the background. It's kind of almost blue looking, blue-purple looking. And the wolf. And I always see wolves as like being cunning, but you can also see there's the trickle of blood from her mouth. So it's like the animal in her. Embrace, and I think that goes back to the first card, the Sun card, of embracing your inner beast. And the difficulty with telling if that's the sun or moon goes back to the Lord of Scepters and the Lord of Grails seeming like they're at cross purposes. You can't really tell if it's sun or moon, night or dark, yes or no. There's so much ambiguity there, but then it's a matter of perspective. It doesn't always have to be yes or no. It can be yes and. It could be no but. There are options there. Sometimes it's a matter of perspective to take two things that seem like they're opposition and find a way in which they marry well. Then the next card that I got is this one here. It's also in reverse. It looks like this. It is the Five of Skulls. So again, that is a pentacle. And it's kind of where it takes a twist, right? If you don't, it's also got Taurus on there. The one thing that I would say that Aries and Taurus really have in common is being stubborn, and this is kind of, I wouldn't say a warning. It's, you can learn the easy way or the hard way. It's really your choice. And you don't, like it looks like they've been fighting, but you know, like when kids are fighting and then like an adult walks into the room and they kind of freeze frame and they're just like, what? We weren't doing anything. I think it's, you can do it the easy way or the hard way, but one way or another, your facade, the external perfect version of you, and Beast, they're gonna work it out, right? And they can come out working together, or I don't know how, there we go, or in opposition. That's your choice. And here again we've got the Ace of Grails. So the beginning of an emotional journey. It's interesting because we got the skulls, Ace of Skulls as well. So it's like you're getting different pairs of energies that can be a bit dissonant. But if you can find the balance between things, and I know for fire, that's not really something that you dabble in. That's more Libra, but that's interesting because Libra is also your counter sign. I'm a Libra. Hey. Finding the balance again, and I'm going to clarify that Eight of Scepters that I talked about earlier because that one was very out of nowhere almost. So here we have the Six of Grails on the Eight of Scepters. 6 and 8 is 14 is 5. If you know numerology, you'll know that I'm not just that bad at math. And this has Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is kind of known for being like extreme about stuff. And it's funny, so she's like sitting here looking out the window, like thinking, just contemplating and sitting with her emotions, and he's over here just attacking shit, just trying to beat things up. Balance. You don't have to approach everything that way. And if you are approaching something that way, get rid of the ambiguity. Figure it out first. Think about it before you attack it. So, guys, that is